Hello everybody and welcome back to another card review for Scholomance Academy and to another double upload for today. A set of amazing, absolutely bonkers cards have just been revealed for Demon Hunter and Warlock, so stay tuned to find out what they are. Holy shit, man, I can't believe this. As I said, guys, there have been some insane Warlock and Demon Hunter cards that have just been revealed. 3 Warlock cards, 3 Demon Hunter cards, and 3 dual class cards for obviously Warlock and Demon Hunter as well. And this new kind of concept that is being added into Hearthstone, the Soul Fragments concept. So there's going to be a bunch of cards that you're going to see in this video that, you know, add soul fragments into your deck. And what soul fragment is basically, you know, once you add it to your deck, if you draw it, you're just going to restore 2 health to your hero. So it's basically like a bomb. But it's like does the reverse, right? It just gives you 2 health basically, and that's pretty much it. So that's what the soul fragments are. And as I said, you're going to see a bunch of cards that either shuffle soul fragments or make use of soul fragments into your you know, in your deck. So yeah, bear that in mind when we go through all of these cards. A lot of cards in this video, but yeah, I'm going to try and speed through them. And some of these cards, guys, are very insane, like the first one, School Spirits. It is a Warlock card. Deal 2 damage to all minions. Shuffle 2 Soul Fragments into your deck. And as I said, guys, Soul Fragments are the heal 2 to your hero when drawn card. It is 3 mana. It is 3 mana, deal 2 to all minions. That is insane. I mean, this card is unbelievable. It's basically Breath of the Infinite. It always hits your own board, okay. But for any sort of controlling Warlock deck, this card is absolutely great. And it has the benefit of shuffling 2 Soul Fragments to your deck. So you could see this card as deal 3 to all minions, heal 4 to your hero. You know, because obviously each soul fragment does heal 2 to your hero, is delayed healing for sure. But a better way of looking at this card and evaluate these soul fragment cards is to look at the support cards that come with it. And one of them is Shadowlight Scholar, which is another Warlock card. It is a 3 mana 3/4 with beautiful stat line. Destroy a soul fragment in your deck to deal 3 damage. So there's going to be a lot of these cards for Warlock and Demon Hunter that kind of want to make use of these soul fragments into your deck. So a lot of them is going to be, you know, use up a soul fragment or destroy a soul fragment to do something. This card by itself is very, very strong in my opinion. It's a 3 mana 3/4, very good stats, and it has Battlecry, destroy a soul fragment, deal 3 damage. So that's really good. This can go face as well, by the way. It just says deal 3 damage, and even if it doesn't go face, it's very, very strong tempo. SI7 Agent, right? Think about that card. It is a 3 mana 3/3, deal 2 damage. And that card, it was really, really good for Rogue, and still arguably is pretty good. It's a little bit low power level now. This is 1 extra health and it does 1 extra damage, and the breakpoint between 2 and 3 is very strong. So this card is very, very good. Now the issue I have with all these fragment cards, and it's kind of hard to evaluate because something like this card, you need to have fragments in your deck for this card to be good, right? You're never going to run this card unless you get the Battlecry off. And the only way to get the Battlecry off is to pretty much play a card like School Spirits beforehand, right? You need to play this before. You need to play some other shuffle, you know, Soul Fragment shuffle cards before you play this card. So the question is a Soul Fragment Warlock deck going to exist? And that's really hard to evaluate. There are, you know, 9 Soul Fragment cards. About half of them shuffle into your deck. Shuffle fragments into your deck. About half of them make use of this fragment. So it's actually not that many cards that shuffle fragments. There is this one, which I think this card is fantastic, Soul Spirits, and this could just be used, you know, even not in a fragment deck. This could just be used in any sort of control Warlock deck. So this is definitely going to get a higher rating than something like this, which is a little bit more situational. But I think it's still very, very strong. And let's look at the 3rd Warlock card. So for each of these, you know, Soul Fragment cards are going to be 3 for each class, and then 3 for the dual class between them as well. So the 3rd card for Warlock is Void Drinker, Taunt, Battlecry, destroy a soul fragment in your deck to gain 3/3, and is a 5 mana 4/5 taunt. This card is really good, and the difference between this card and the 3 mana card that we just looked at is that this card is just pretty decent already. It's a demon, it's a pretty big demon, 5 mana 4/5, Shield of Galakron stats. That's not bad. I mean, it's not great, okay, don't get me wrong, it's not fantastic stats, but you don't mind playing it. However, if you do get the Battlecry off, it is absolutely insane. It is a 5 mana 7/8 demon. That is Earth Elemental without the Overload. That is absolutely incredible. If you're able to play this on 5, it's going to be completely backbreaking. Once again, you do need to build a Soul Fragment deck. But I honestly think, because I have looked at all the Soul Fragment cards, you're about to see them in the rest of this video, I honestly think that some sort of Soul Fragment Warlock will exist, because this card is absolutely insane to play on 5. Like, a 7/8 is so good. And Also, this card as well is a really, really good payoff card for Warlock. So, and due to the fact that this card is really good AoE. So because of all of that, guys, I'm actually going to rate both of these cards a 7 out of 10. We have the Void Drinker and the Shadowlight Scholar. Both going to rate them 7 out of 10. And for School Spirits, I'm going to rate this an 8 out of 10. I'm going to rate this a little bit higher than the other two. Obviously, they come in a set, but I think this is just a really good card, even if it's not in a Soul Fragment deck. You know, as I said, 3 mana Breath of the Infinite for Warlock is absolutely insane. Warlock already has Dark Skies, and adding more removal into Warlock's arsenal is really, really strong. You know, right now, Warlock is relying on Crazed Netherwing to deal AoE damage, but now it has this, and you know, it's really, really good. So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10, guys. I'm going to give these Warlock support cards a 7 out of 10. Okay, so before we move on to the dual class Soul Fragment cards, we're going to look at the Demon Hunter ones now. And first up, we have a really interesting weapon, the Marrow Slicer. Very cool name. 4 mana 4/2 weapon, so true Silver Champion stats. With the Battle Cry, shuffle 2 Soul Fragments into your deck. Pretty decent weapon. I mean, it's true Silver Champion. It's not as good as true Silver Champion. Because it doesn't give you the immediate healing, but technically it does give you the same amount of healing as True Silver. It's just delayed, right? Because each of the fragments heal 2 to your face. True Silver Champion, each swing heals 2 to your face. So eventually you are going to get the same amount of healing. So this is basically True Silver Champion for Demon Hunter. A little bit less good though. But it does combo more with the hero power. Obviously, you're able to, you know, play this on turn 4, potentially play on turn 5 to deal 5 with your weapon, or you can, you know, attack once, hold it next turn, and then buff it up with stuff like Twin Slice and Chaos Strike and your hero power. So it definitely works really well in Demon Hunter. Obviously, Demon Hunter loves to use weapons, so this is a pretty strong weapon. What deck does it really fit into, though? It definitely fits into, obviously, a Soul Fragment deck. Do I think a Soul Fragment deck in Demon Hunter will exist? You're going to have to keep watching the video to find out and to look at some of the other cards. But if we just think about Tempo Demon Hunter, will Tempo Demon Hunter want to use a card like this? I think it will. It's pretty aggressive. It's really heavily, you know, attack-focused weapon. And Tempo Demon Hunter doesn't really have a lot of good 4-drops right now. Pretty much just Kane Sun Fury, and obviously Kane Sun Fury did get nerfed, so it's not as good just to play on 4 anymore. You do have Satyr Overseer hero power, but sometimes, you know, I think just playing this is pretty good. You can take a trade, or you can just push more face damage. So I honestly see this card seeing play in Demon Hunter. Maybe it's a little bit of a fringe card. I'm not really sure if it will see play. It's a bit of a hard one to call. Well, if you look at the next card for Demon Hunter, this is one of these Soul Fragment payoff cards, and it is a 5 mana 5/5 Battlecry. Destroy a Soul Fragment in your deck to give your hero +5 attack this turn. Wow, this card is absolutely insane, and now we can see what Demon Hunter wants to do with Soul Fragments, right? We have Warlock, we just saw previously, who kind of, you know, is a bit more controlling with the Soul Fragments. We have the AoE, we had the deal 3 damage, we had the big taunt, really defensive kind of Soul Fragment build. But you see what Blizzard's trying to push with Demon Hunter? They're trying to go face. They're trying to be super, super aggressive. Give your hero 5 attack this turn is absolutely insane. And on top of that, you get a 5/5. This is an incredible card. And this really, you know, pushes Demon Hunter to become a Soul Fragment Demon Hunter deck. Because why would you not play with Soul Fragments when you get a payoff card like this? Absolutely insane. This card absolutely insane. Do I think Demon Hunter will go to the Soul Fragment route? I think this pushes it really, really far to yes. Because getting a 5/5 and getting 5 attack on your hero is absolutely insane. You can use it for burst damage later on in the game if you top deck this. You know, it could give you lethals. If you just play it on 5, it's pretty good. Even if you don't get the Battle Cry, it's not bad. A 5 mana 5/5 is not too bad. It's not as good. It's not something you want to play, but it's not too bad. So I think this card is incredibly strong. And, you know, are there enough Soul Fragment cards to really go along with this? Because you don't want to play too few Soul Fragment cards. Otherwise, you know, that you're going to draw them all and then there's not going to be any in your deck. It's kind of like how bombs work. But, like, for example, the weapon we just saw shuffles 2 in. You can run double of those. And pretty strong. Pretty fucking strong. I really like this card. And let's see what else Demon Hunter has to offer. And the third pure Demon Hunter card to do with Soul Fragments is this. Shard Shatter Mystic. 3 mana 3/2 Battlecry destroys Soul Fragment in your deck to deal 3 damage to all other minions. Holy shit, guys. This is an OP Dustbreaker. You guys remember Dustbreaker from back in the day. A 4 mana 3/3 deal 3 to all other minions if you have a dragon in hand. And that card was insane. One of the best AoE cards that we had for the whole 2-year rotation. And this card is simply better. It's 1 mana cheaper. It loses 1 health, but it has the same effect. And obviously you do need to run Soul Fragments. Now, the issue with this card is It is very strong in a vacuum, but it is in Demon Hunter, and I don't think Demon Hunter really wants to do control-y things. They do have control tools. There's another AoE effect for Demon Hunter, but it requires you to play, the Soul Fragment cards. You have to play the weapon if you want to play Control Demon Hunter. You have to play a couple of the other cards we're going to see in a minute if you want to play this control-y Demon Hunter archetype, and I don't think that's as good as just the aggro go Fate. So we just saw the 5-mana 5/5, really aggressive minion. This card, although it is very strong, it's definitely not as good as the other Demon Hunter cards, just because it's a little bit more defensive, and I think Demon Hunter as an archetype wants to be the aggressive one most of the time. If some sort of control Demon Hunter does exist, I think this card will see play. This is definitely not as good as the other cards, so because of that, I'm actually going to give this card a 5 out of 10. Even though it is very strong, I think it will be experimented with, but ultimately it's not going to be very good. I'm giving it a 5 just because it is very strong in a vacuum. If we go back to the 5-mana 5/5 Demon Hunter card, this is going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. I think almost gave it a 9 there, but I think 8 is more realistic for this card. I think Demon Hunter definitely wants to go for a Soul Fragment aggro. Now there's definitely a different way to play it. Tempo Demon Hunter with Soul Fragments, with the weapon as well. This card is going to be absolutely insane. And speaking of the weapon, I will also give this weapon an 8 out of 10 as well, just because I think it's a really strong weapon. True Silver Champion, it's attack heavy, so it's really, really good for a class like Demon Hunter that wants to go face, that wants to just kill your opponent very quickly. And, curving into from Marrow Slicer into the 5/5 is going to be a very strong curve, I feel like, for Demon Hunter in the next expansion. And now let's look at the dual class fragment cards for Warlock and Demon Hunter. The first one is a very insane card, and this is going to tie in a lot of fragment cards for both the archetypes. It is the Spirit Jailer, a 1-mana 1/3 demon. Shuffle 2 fragments into your deck as a battle cry. Yeah, this is brilliant. This is the card, exactly the type of card that both these decks will need if they want to run Soul Fragments synergy cards into their deck, because this is just a really, really strong card. Aggressive Demon Hunter decks would love to run this. It's a great stat line. It's a 1/3. It's a great 1-drop to run, and it's also a demon as well, so you can actually use the Philosophy card that was released. That's also a dual class card to actually copy this card and give it 1/1 to allow you to shuffle more fragments into your deck and just get more of a tempo swing. This is a really good card. Stat line, fantastic. Mana cost, fantastic. Battle cry is great. It's a positive battle cry as well. So this is just a complete power creep on something like Diamol. But this card is absolutely insane. And any Soul Fragment deck, for both of these classes, will 100% run this card every single time. You play this on turn 1, you guarantee some Soul Fragment into your deck. You can play your synergy cards later on. Yeah, this is great. This is a fantastic card. So because of that, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. The reason I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 is I'm not completely sure a Soul Fragment deck will exist. Maybe Soul Fragments is just a little bit too inconsistent and it will not, come into the meta at all. I think that's very unlikely though, guys, because we've seen some of the power level of these Soul Fragment cards. I think it's going to be really, really strong. Either in Warlock or Demon Hunter, maybe even in both. Maybe both classes will find a way to make use of Soul Fragments, but I think at least one of the decks will. I think the deck that will be a tier 1 deck, and I'm looking at Demon Hunter mainly compared to Warlock. And Demon Hunter, some sort of aggressive Soul Fragment Demon Hunter deck will be insane in the next expansion. So because of that, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Next up, we have a 2-mana spell dual class for this fragment archetype. Soul Shear. Deal 3 damage to a minion. Shuffle 2 soul fragments into your deck. So this is basically like a dark bomb, like a penance, like a frostbolt. So many of those 2-mana deal 3 damage cards we've seen in Hearthstone's history, and this is a good one. I mean, it can't go face, and it doesn't have any additional effect. It's just kind of like a 2-mana deal 3 to a minion. So it's not that great. It's not as great as something like Penance or something like Frostbolt, for example. That's additional other benefits. But it does shuffle 2 Soul Fragments into your deck. So if you are going to be running a Fragment deck, I think you do have to kind of run this card, especially if you're running maybe a control package. I think the Warlock Fragment archetype will definitely want to run this card more so than the Demon Hunter one. If you're playing aggro Demon Hunter, maybe you don't want to play this card. It's not as good. You're not really developing onto the board. This is more of a removal card. But I think Warlock really, really loves this card because I think if a Fragment deck were to exist in Warlock, it will be very control-y. It will be a control-y archetype. And this card fits perfectly into it because you can remove something for 2 mana pretty efficiently and shuffle fragments to your deck to kind of get those synergies and play that 3-drop on Curve, for example, and go into that 5-drop taunt as well. So yeah, pretty strong card overall. Definitely more for Warlock than for Demon Hunter. So because of that, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. And the final card, guys, to tie this whole archetype together for both classes is an insane legendary. A 7-mana 5/5 battlecry for each soul fragment in your deck. Summon a 3/3 soul with rush. And it tells you how many fragments you have as well with the little counter. Really, really cool card. Really good payoff card for having these soul fragments, as well as the additional payoff cards that already, got given for both these classes. I think a lot of the time you're going to get a full board with this card. I mean, if you shuffle, let's say, by turn 7, how many soul fragments are you likely to have? I mean, a lot of the soul fragment cards are really early and are really cheap. So I feel like you're probably going to have, maybe you could have shuffled like 8 to 10 soul fragments into your deck. Maybe less than that, maybe 6. Maybe 6 to 8, right? Let's say 6 to 8. And maybe you would have drawn a couple of them, right? Maybe 2 or 3. So on average, maybe you're going to get 3 to 4 souls out of this. The Soul Archaeologist, really good pun as well. I didn't realize the name. I was really excited about this archetype. But the Soul Archaeologist, Malicia, I think you're, on average going to get 3 to 4 souls. And then is that good? Well, yeah, that's great. I think getting a 7-mana 5/5, summon 4 3/3s with rush, maybe 3, maybe if you low roll, you get 2, right? But even with 2, that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Look at the Galakron, the Tempest for Shaman, the Galakron Shaman hero card. That summons, 2 4/4s with rush, right? At best, 2 8/8s with rush if you have to fully invoke it. And obviously that's incredibly strong to get at 7 mana. But sometimes it's actually power creeps at, the maximum amount of tempo you can get if you have, more than 6 souls into your deck. And that's all you need, because to completely fill the board, you just need 6 or more souls in your deck. And if you have 6 or more soul fragments into your deck, then you're going to summon, a total of, like 23 worth of stats of 7 mana. And 18 of those have rush. Wow, that is absolutely insane. This card is going to see play in both of these classes, I'm sure. Even if it's a Demon Hunter, right? I think it's really strong to get this on 7 mana. If you discount it with Skull of Gul'dan, really, really good. This is a really good top end for aggressive Demon Hunter decks, because you're able to really go wide. You're able to kind of, if you're in a mirror and you get an aggro mirror, you're able to trade down their board. And you're, a lot of the times able to get a lot of soul fragments into your deck. So I think this is great. And this is definitely even better for Warlock, in my opinion, as well, because for a controlling Warlock archetype, which is what I see the Fragment archetype being in Warlock, damn, this is going to be insane, because it's basically going to be a board clear that kind of gives you a board, right? And that's always really strong in Hearthstone. The rush mechanic, able to kind of take trades, clear the opponent's board, and also leave you a little bit of a board as well. So really, really strong, guys. This whole archetype is insane. This card is insane. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10, I think. Just because I'm not sure, I'm not completely convinced that Demon Hunter will run this card. I think it will, but it might be a little bit too slow for Demon Hunter. I think Warlock is going to be really good. So, but just because even in a Fragment Demon Hunter deck, this might not see play, I can't give it too high of a rating. But I really like this legendary, and I really like this archetype. So this is going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. And that is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. I tried to go a little bit faster for this one because there were a lot of cards in this video. And it was a completely new archetype as well. What do you guys think about the Soul Fragment archetype for Demon Hunter and Warlock? I think it's going to be incredibly strong, especially in Demon Hunter. I think that's going to be the new tempo aggro Demon Hunter in the next expansion. If you think I'm wrong, and let me know what you think about the Soul Fragment synergy cards. And yeah, but I'm really excited for it. So maybe my ratings are a little bit biased because I just really like this idea and I really like this concept. Maybe I've overrated these cards. Maybe I'm going to be incredibly wrong and fragments are never going to see play. But we will have to see when the expansion launches. I am so excited, guys, and hope you guys are excited as well. But until then, I will see you on the next video. Peace out, boys.